All right, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch here. Welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network for another installment of Bodybuilding Daily, the show where we talk about all things hot topic and trending in the world of bodybuilding. Real quick, before we get into the news, I was just watching, South Park's episode of Kanye West Gayfish is the most catchy song I've heard in probably a month. Like, motherfucking gayfish on the lonely nights. It's like it's so good. It's so good. Anyways, let's go ahead and go with the first story for today. Derek Lunsford, the runner-up to the 2022 Mr. Olympia in his men's open bodybuilding debut, placing second, is sharing some physique updates 12 weeks out from the 2023 Mr. Olympia as it returns to Orlando, Florida, the first week of November. Exciting to be there. Exciting to meet you there. So if you guys are going to the Olympia, make sure you look for me either during the meet and greet or whenever. I will be around in the bodybuilding swag, the B&N swag. So check it out. Derek Lunsford sharing some physique updates, and the conversation that I'm hearing right now is Derek has made some significant improvements to the legs. Now, the thing that I remember from last year's Olympia was him getting critiqued for the way that he poses his legs. In the front shots, he does this horse stance. It looks like he's saddling a horse when he does his front shots, and I think he might have done that initially when he was starting to make up for potentially some lagging body parts, some lagging muscle groups within the legs, within the leg structure. Now, as a top 2 men's open bodybuilding professional, I don't think he needs to do that anymore. I think he needs to focus more on a more classic look to those front shots, the front double, the front lat, the way he's doing it in the video here on the Instagram that he was sharing, I think is a great look for him. He's not too wide with the shots, and maybe he could even do some quad spiking to really make it pop, to really accentuate it. That is something that I would like to see, or at least something I would like him to continue to work on in the off season coming into this Mr. Olympia prep. 12 weeks out, he's definitely looking like he's in shape. It definitely looks like, for me, there is a conversation for him to win the Olympia this year. I said it, I believe, right after the Olympia last year. I don't think Hadi Choopan is going to be someone that is going to win as many titles as Ramy did, or as many as Phil Heath did. And that's just my thoughts. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below on Derek Lunsford. Moving into Samson Dauda, sharing some physique updates. Of course, thank you for watching the video this long. This definitely does help the algorithm promote these videos. So leave a like if you're still watching. Samson Dauda, another guy placing in his Olympia debut, men's open bodybuilding, but he's always been open, placing 6th, right? 6th at the Olympia last year, and then coming into the Arnold Classic, making huge improvements, beating out number 3 Mr. Olympia contender Nick Walker, and winning the 2022 Arnold Classic, or actually 2023, right? 2023 Arnold Classic. And I was absolutely blown away with that. He did make a lot of improvements, and we're going to see a side-by-side in just a second of what he looked like from last Arnold Classic to this Arnold Classic. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is day and night, some Kanye West vibes today. It truly is a day and night difference between what Samson Dauda brought last year to what he brought this year. I don't know if it's the supplements. I don't know if it's the training, if it's the mentality, if it's bringing Milos on, or if it's him being completely sponsored by Fuad, where he doesn't have the stress, the financial stress that comes with being a full-time bodybuilder and having to pay for things. So that could help a lot, I'm sure, is something. But looking at this side-by-side comparison, I'm absolutely blown away. I can't believe that he put on that much muscle, that he filled up that much in a year, or not even a year, you know. Well, actually, technically a year. Yeah, the Arnold to the Arnold is about a year. Also, I want to say the way that he's holding the pose is different. He's keeping the air in instead of trying to emphasize the small midsection. He's expanding the rib cage to make him look bigger and thicker, and I completely think that that played in his favor. And before we move into the next topic, we get to see a little glimpse of what Samson Dauda looked like last year coming into the 2022 competitive season. And I don't want to say it is day and night, but he has put on a lot of density, a lot of thickness in his physique. The legs look similar, the midsection looks similar, but the way that his chest and his shoulders and his arms have increased in the last 2 seasons, I think is something that not a lot of open bodybuilders have been able to perfect. Not a lot of open bodybuilders have been able to do, let alone perfect. Like, how many open bodybuilders can you think of right now that have made such a drastic improvement compared to Samson Dauda? Think back to, he placed outside the top 10 at the, I believe it was the Europa Pro in 2018 or 2019. And then coming into 2023, he's in the conversation to be a top 3, top 4 contender. Could even win the whole gosh darn thing at the 2023 Mr. Olympia in November as it returns to Orlando. I cannot think of anyone that has made that much improvements outside of maybe Nick Walker, as Nick Walker is a newer pro, a younger pro, and his trajectory, the roadmap for Nick Walker's career is so impressive and so promising. He also has a much longer career than Samson Dauda. Samson's been doing this for a little bit, and he's finally starting to come into his own with the things we already talked about: sponsorships, money, Milos coaching. What else is there? He's got a phenomenal family. He has a wife that supports him and keeps him mentally healthy. I mean, the guy's got everything he needs to be a successful pro right now. I wish him the best of luck. I'm super excited to meet him at the Mr. Olympia. I did miss him at the Arnold because it was very busy. But best of luck to Samson Dauda. Nick Walker, we've talked about him just a second ago, 12 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. This almost is a 12 weeks out video of some of the top men's open bodybuilding pros coming into this year's Olympia. Nick Walker sharing what I think is still impressive. Some people have said that Nick Walker's physique updates might not be as impressive as some people like Derek Lunsford or Samson Dauda. I would say that Nick Walker posts very consistent physique updates, so that the physique updates that he's sharing might not be as exciting or might not be as rare as someone like a Brandon Curry, who is completely absent, or Big Ramy or Hadi Chupin. You know, you have 3 of the top 6 not really posting a lot of content, and it is quite surprising. But I digress. Looking at the roadmap of Nick Walker's career from 2017 to 2023, the guy has improved so much. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is the amount of muscle he's been able to put on, and also the level of posing prowess he's been able to add to his arsenal really has set himself apart from other amateur to pros in the 2017 to 2020 season. Nick Walker, in my opinion, has completely set himself aside and apart from other gentlemen that might have turned pro in those same time frame, and also people that have beaten Nick Walker at the national level shows turning pro. And no shade to the other gentlemen that have beaten Nick Walker in the past or even turned pro in the same calendar year. But there isn't really anyone with that level of career progression like Nick Walker. Of course, please let me know your thoughts down below. If you can think of anyone that has been able to do the same level of progress as Nick Walker. You got to think this guy's been doing it for... He's been doing it for probably a decade, give or take. He's a little younger than me, a few years younger, and he's already put himself into the conversation. He has solidified himself as a top 3 Mr. Olympia contender. And that's nothing to bat your eyes at. That's not something that we can just forget about. A little side tangent. I know you guys love my rants. I saw someone post a a picture on Instagram saying who has the best biceps in bodybuilding currently, and they didn't have Hadi Chupin in the top 6. And I thought that was very interesting because he is the reigning Mr. Olympia. And I think that a lot of these comparison channels, some of them have kind of lost sight of what the Mr. Olympia title means. You can't have not top 6 biceps and win the Olympia. I'd say the only person that's been able to win an Olympia title and have a body part that doesn't belong in the top 10 is Brandon Curry's legs. And that's a whole nother tangent. We've already talked about that. So those are my thoughts on Nick Walker. I'm excited to see more amazing physique updates from him, and a gentleman that has yet to qualify for the Olympia this year. And honestly, I don't know if he'll ever make it to the Olympia. He's said that he doesn't have any issues coming to the United States this year between the different legal issues that he may or may not have had and the car accident situation. Based off of what we've heard and what Nathan DeAsha has said himself, there is nothing stopping him from winning a pro show, one, and qualifying at the Olympia this year. Now, Nathan DeAsha does have one of these wild card physiques. He's got a very long physique, the midsection, the lat insertions. It really does, he doesn't compare easily against other people in the top 6 that I can think about. And I think that actually is going to play in favor to him, because if you don't have anyone to compare yourself to in the top 6 or the top 10, you're either going to be first or you're going to be 11th. That seems to be how the judges do it. It's not very often that they put someone like a Nick Walker and an Andrew Jacked in second and third. Usually they split it up. They put physiques that are similar in the same realm, in the same category. You think of, and I don't want to not talk about Nathan DeAsha because his physique update is quite impressive. He is, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 weeks out from the Flex Pro weekend in Italy, where the standout names are going to be Nathan DeAsha versus Regan Grimes. We will be doing a side-by-side comparison soon, so stay tuned for that. But they don't usually put people together that don't complement each other. Hadi, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, top 3. They're all short, compact, freaky, mutant people, muscle mass monsters. And then you start getting into the Brandon Curry, who's kind of in a weird spot. You get into Big Ramy, who's kind of a combination of the freak factor, but also the tall and big. And then you get into, Samson Dauda. I had a brain fart. So where I see him placing, I think he's going to win the Italy against Regan, unless Regan brings some serious conditioning. And then who knows? Fingers crossed he makes it to the Olympia. Let me know your thoughts on all of the competitors that we talked about 12 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia in another installment of Bodybuilding Daily. I'm your host, Josh Sanch. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.